Some say respect is earned and others say respect is reciprocal. Now, the older generation has been complaining that the younger generation has been losing respect for elderly ones. And this is fast becoming a menace to the society. Hello guys, my name is Happiness Eric and you're welcome to my podcast, Real Ish. And on today's episode, we'll be discussing elders and entitlement. And with me in the studio today having this conversation are three beautiful ladies. And I'm going to start with from my right, far right, the introduction. Thelma Ononye. She's an entrepreneur and a business lady. I don't know what the difference between being an entrepreneur and You're welcome to Real Ish. And in the middle is Mirabel Mabe Alu. She's a barrister. Welcome to Real Ish. And to my very close left is Susan Eku Jelan. You're welcome to Real Ish. She's an entrepreneur and also an interior decor. I don't think I'll have to keep doing this introduction because this is not the first time you're being in the show.
Just skip me there.
No, that's what I say. Like I'm talking about your profession.
No, like skip me when it comes to introduction because you said.
You're a regular customer.
At the buy markets.
All right, so today's topic will be discussing elders and entitlement.
Okay.
So, some people will say respect is earned, and I think that's coming right from the younger generation. Mm-hmm. And some will also say respect is reciprocal. But the elderly ones, the older generation are, very, very, very much entitled when it comes to being respected. So, and this has really been causing issues, and some people will say, especially on social media, that the younger generations actually don't even have respect when addressing the older generation anymore. Do you think it's actually true that this is becoming a menace? Starting with Thelma, let me start with you.
As an African child, it is expected of you to respect your elder.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the person is older than you by a month, you have to respect anybody. So that person is your elder.
Mm.
Now, being an elder does not mean that the respect now, you will now disrespect anybody because you are older than us.
Right.
If you don't respect anyone, you cannot respect yourself. You will not be respected. So it is how you portray yourself that will make people respect you.
Mabe, what do you think?
I agree with her. Respect, it's something that you are born with. It's something that you, from your home, you're taught to respect your parents, you're taught to respect people that are ahead of you. So it's not something that is supposed to be debatable, like you're supposed to respect. So that's my take. I feel everybody should respect the elderly if the person actually deserves respect, because it's not everybody that deserves respect. And I'm saying that because there are people that are entitled and people that would not respect themselves. So they are not even in a position to ask for respect, right? Because they themselves have not, portrayed any act. There's a way you carry
that
yourself.
Is deserving of
exactly,
respect.
That is deserving of respect. So if you respect yourself, why not? It's not too hard to respect somebody.
Susan?
For me, I think respect is a two-way street. Like, you give what you receive. It's not something that you respect somebody to just come and say, respect me because I am elderly or because I'm elderly. Respect is something that is earned for me. So whether you're a small baby, whether you are a little child, whether you are an adult, whether you are a parent, it's expected that you should give respect in order for you to receive it. So you don't just put it out there because I'm your elderly one, you have to give me respect. No, I don't. We all have triggers. We all have our own emotions. We all have how we want to react and how we want things to be, presented to us. So you can even present something to a little child, and the child will just get angry at you and frown, and you think the child is doing wrong because it's a child, not knowing that the child is reacting based on what you had given her, which is probably a disrespectful, approach. So I feel respect is a two-way street. is what you give, that's what you receive. There's nothing like elderly, or of course tradition is not, we can't take out tradition when we're talking about respect in an African setting, especially.
Right.
You have to respect your elders, like it is, up here, like it's top notch. You have to respect your elders. But like we said, millennials and the Gen Z, we are fast growing. We have a lot of reinventions. We are in the tech guys era and everything. So you cannot force respect on those kind of people because they know better. They feel like more like they want to know why I have to respect you. You have to tell me, why do I have to respect you when you don't respect me? On the norms, and most people don't even respect their elders anymore because they feel they've grown past certain things. But our elderly people, they grew up in a generation whereby this respect is something they hold so dearly.
Right.
You don't just come out and speak nonsense because you think you know what is right. It's still cultural today for most people to have that setting whereby no matter what an elderly person says, you have to, keep your voice low and still give them that respect. We cannot play out tradition, which is very okay. But when you're talking about the standard setting where you have people who are learned, you cannot force respect on someone who is learned because I'm learned and then you're telling me I should respect you because you're my senior or elderly person. I wouldn't do that personally, so that's my take.
Okay, so I've got two scenarios that I'm going to give here, and I'd just like to hear your opinion about it. The first scenario is I think there was a time when there were these very controversial issues that happened like a couple of years ago. This should be like 2 years ago, and it has to do with Wole Soyinka when he boarded a plane, right? You know how on a plane, like you could have like maybe 2 or 3 seats, and then everybody will have their seats allocated to them on their ticket.
Yeah.
But Wole, knowing that's not his seat, I think this has to do with the window side, and I mean a lot of people like sitting by the window side. So Wole Soyinka went to sit there, and the rightful owner of the seat, when he came, he demanded to sit on his seat. And then some people, when it hit the internet, a lot of people were just, about why don't you have respect for your elders? Like, it's wrong for you to have demanded. Don't you know that this man is an elder statesman and he has achieved a lot to be disrespected in that manner. Now, this has to do with like my rights, right? And the other person being a really huge contributor to the society in terms of education and every other aspect. It's confusing because it's more like everyone is just against the guy. Why do you have to demand? I mean, you could just sit anywhere. But what if this guy is someone who is claustrophobic and he feels sitting by the window side is and then no one is like, I just want you guys to give me your opinion. What do you think?
I stumbled on that scenario on social media, actually on Twitter, and it's just funny because I asked the question: did Wole Soyinka pay for his ticket? Yes. Did the guy pay for his ticket? Yes. Was that number allocated to the guy? Yes. And if that is the case, he has every right to want to sit where it was allocated to him. They're not supposed to argue about it. Now, if Wole Soyinka is claustrophobic, for instance, and he wants to sit by the window, he can simply just tell him politely, because I can't actually remember what happened eventually, if Wole Soyinka demanded that he should get up. But I feel if Wole Soyinka just told him, "Oh, get up, I'm older than you," that is wrong.
No.
That
It was
is
actually
wrong.
Wole Soyinka who was even sitting on his own seat position, where the boy was meant to sit down.
If Wole Soyinka wants to still maintain that seat, he can possibly just tell him, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I prefer sitting here. If you don't mind, my son, let me sit here," instead of insisting.
That my son's statement is very manipulative. Because first, you are not even the father.
No, of course, but if you politely.
It's like a father figure.
Elders.
It is a very big manipulation. They tell you my son, my daughter, so that you calm down, you will not be able to talk. I'm not your child. You not born me. My mom is at home. My father is
Mommy
in
is at home.
wherever he is. We are not related in any way. So if you sit on my seat and daddy, I cannot
forfeit your
the
position.
place that when they were picking seats, why didn't you use your status to pick window chair? so that you will see and not be claustrophobic. You are claustrophobic and you're entering the aeroplane. Why did they put you inside coffin or pack you inside nylon and throw you to where you're going to? So that they will give you a, what are they calling it? It's true now. Did I
No, she's assuming he's close. She's not saying he is.
What I'm saying? Yeah, that assume.
Okay, it's an assumption.
And I'm going with it.
Yeah.
You say you're claustrophobic, or let's assume you're claustrophobic as the assumption may go. And you will take sleeping pill when you enter inside aeroplane. You sit in your seat, you take your pill, you drink water, and you pass out. When you reach Lagos or Akwa Ibom or wherever you're
There's
going,
anything like
you wake up.
driver past my junction in the airplane.
Oh, in airplane, exactly.
Where will he find himself?
Or possibly speak to the young man if it's something that is dependent and is life threatening, because you don't even know the position of the boy. So you can, that is I say, you can politely tell the person. But if the boy too is claustrophobic, he's entitled to that position.
For me, what I think is, in such situations, you don't even have anything to do with respect. There are rules embedded. It doesn't have anything to do with Yoruba people have respect and what have you, but in an organized system, you cannot just come and say, because you just have, even if it's the president that was sitting there, that is the right of the boy.
Simple.
Whoever the person was is even respectful to the elderly person to stand up.
I feel you're,
and then let the younger one say, "Oh no, sir, please, you can sit down."
Okay, it's just so like now you have a number. You can clearly see your number on your ticket, so and you see on the board that the number. So there is nothing. You are not supposed to be arguing.
Actually, if that's the case, he could just easily pick any airplane to fly with.
Or maybe even a private jet, because you can afford it. Yeah. Because he can afford it. Exactly.
So I think, for me, I think that's not even debatable.
I feel it's bullying.
It's already structured.
Bullying,
yeah, I feel it's bullying. Yeah, I feel it's bullying, because you cannot, because you are older than me, just bully me off my own entitlement. You can't bully me. So, and that is it. So that is what I'm saying. If you speak to me politely, I will not feel like you're attacking me or you're trying to bully me. Like she mentioned, some of them will say, "Oh, my son," and it's like a kind of manipulation, and trying to manipulate somebody. But even if you do that and you are manipulating me and you talk to me politely, me personally, I will still say, "Okay, no problem." But if you want to insist and say, "Oh, because you are older than me, why am I?" I'm not going to listen to you.
Do you have other scenarios of things that like this that have happened?
I'm going to give another scenario,
Okay.
and it happens to be this is another Twitter scenario.
Okay.
And sometimes, like, you see crazy things on that app, and then you just be wondering. There's this guy who tweeted sometime ago. He talked about him bringing his supposed wife to meet his mom.
His girlfriend, I remember that story.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the mom was sweeping that
Okay, yeah, I
very
remember that story.
and she had to raise the leg.
That
And
the girl
after the
raised
whole
her leg.
thing, he broke up with the girl.
You have to wait for the girl to come to the house.
And that is it. Why will you put somebody in that position? Nobody put that woman in that position. Of all days, it's not a test. Nobody should be subjected to that kind of a test.
Test of sleep.
Test of what? That okay, so now because she's in a, and I believe the guy was offended that she did not carry the broom. Abi,
Right.
that was the scenario.
And after then he said something about him and his mom made a statement or
That
something that's disrespectful, blah blah blah. And he's not going to marry. I think he broke up the relationship
Really?
because yes,
Okay.
he did break the relationship because of that.
from okay, now culturally they always tell you that okay, if your elders is passing by, like the way it was in our father's time, when your mother is coming from the market, or somebody, even if it's a stranger, and you are going to the town, it's somebody that you are familiar with, you will help the person carry their bag. Yeah, all those things we understand.
I
But
beg
in
to
this,
disagree.
no, I'm trying to.
In that scenario of the lady that had to raise her leg for the mother-in-law to sweep, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's my own opinion. I cannot go to my supposed in-law's house and I'm seated and my in-law is sweeping. It's just common sense. It doesn't have to do with respect. And I raise my leg up and my mother-in-law. Picture it in your mind, and then how does it play out? For me, I think there's nothing wrong. It's like, oh mom, do you need help? Not like dragging the broom and saying,
Exactly.
do
Where
you
I'm
need
coming
help?
from.
Right.
No, I'm just coming from
Yeah.
an angle
Okay.
here. What you're saying is also right, but
And
you're
it's
already in
just
the setting.
offer to
Do you need help?
her
If she
reaction.
says yes, if she says no, fine. There are people
Obviously,
that will
that's
tell
a
you,
test.
oh, my daughter, don't worry, today is your day. Sit down, enjoy yourself.
Right.
Do you understand? But for me to raise my leg and I'll be like, mommy, well done. No. How are you? How was it? Doesn't make
That's
any.
actually rude.
It doesn't make any sense.
No,
It's actually
It's
rude.
actually rude.
I would take it
It's
as
actually
rude.
rude.
I
It's
wouldn't.
actually-
personally is the intention.
It's raising your
See,
leg.
me is
It's
an
not the sister or the mother. Tell
Yes,
her.
mother.
No. I don't think.
For
I
me-
don't buy it.
The point is, at least
I don't
for me,
buy
I
it.
feel like you can actually just make a move.
For me,
I don't
I
buy
feel
it.
it's the intention that the
I
person
don't-
even
I-
have.
I-
It's
I
not
don't
just.
buy
It's
it.
not every day somebody comes to your house and
How many
it's
people
today
come
now.
to your
It's
house
the
that
first time.
start sweeping?
It's the first time, and
If
I
you want
feel
to talk
nobody.
about the intention,
That
fine.
is the intention. Me, I'm
But you
coming
don't.
from.
We
But
don't
there's
know the
no big deal
setting
in
of
this
what
whole
happened.
thing.
Whether the girl
Nobody
just
should be
came.
put in that
You
position.
want to be a clean
Nobody,
woman.
nobody.
No.
She was never put in that position by her own mother-in-law. Nobody should be put in that position.
You are not the fiancé. You are even a girlfriend. In fact,
And until you marry, the engagement can even be broken.
It doesn't
No, like,
doesn't
see,
stop you
if
from
you see there's
sleeping.
no big
No, it doesn't stop you
It
from
doesn't stop you
sleeping,
from
but it's the
assisting.
intention.
It's just like kindness. Oh, let me. No,
is the intention.
What I'm saying is, we don't even know the scenario. Whether she just came in and sat, and the mom started sweeping.
Yes,
that would
that's
have
how
been.
it
That
works.
was
That's
what it was. No, that is,
Oh,
that
is
is
that
what,
how it
or was
went?
that not it?
I don't think so. Somebody enters the house and then you started sweeping.
She
That
was
was a different ball game.
Let me just say this thing.
What
Let
was
me
she
say
doing?
this.
She started sweeping when the girl had sat down.
Okay, let me even
But,
say
but
this thing.
like, is there a big deal if in trying to?
It still doesn't even make
trying to make
anything.
See,
Is
for
there- is there a
instance,
big deal
if
trying
we have her
if your
sweeping
mom, if you're
done.
introducing somebody to your own mom as a man, for instance, let's say,
your father.
okay, now, definitely when we know that we are expecting a guest, we go down clean house, we'll prepare. Definitely, that is why I'm still hitting on the intention. That was done not because the house was, because they know that the person was coming and this person is coming for the first time. If it was subsequently and the person is already maybe second time, I don't even have a problem, even if it's on the first day. But if you are intentionally doing it, and that is why I'm coming from the intention part.
But intention or not,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Intention or
An
not.
elderly person.
Was
I
the-
can-
was
it's
the-
better I
was
don't
the
even
boy?
sit there than sit there and raise my. It's the raising of leg that is
Like,
not
exactly.
my
Was the
I will not
no
raise
the raising
leg.
of leg?
Because
But
I cannot
was
raise
the
leg
was
for
the
my
boy
mother.
there?
Like that.
Was the boy there?
boy was there.
Was the boy there? Okay, why did the boy? Why didn't the boy say, "Oh, mommy"?
Is he handicapped? Can't he sweep?
See, this
That is
thing-
not the question of whether he can sweep or he
It
cannot
is
sweep.
disrespect to
What
the
I am
visitor.
saying is, yes, that's why I say we don't know the scenario that played in the house.
Okay, play
Whether
this
when she
particular
sits,
scenario
or
now.
yeah, play me a scenario. I cannot sit down and we are Africans. Let's just forget all this
forget
Western whatever.
wokeness.
You cannot sit down and then you see an elderly woman bringing broom and then you raise your leg and normally sweep it or just
Why
then
is
you
she-
drop it back. You don't know.
No,
Maybe something had poured or we don't even know. Okay, whichever way. I think.
The point is, right?
I think in the thread, it was even said subsequently that the mother actually told the boy that, I tested her and she
Right.
failed.
It was a test.
That is my position. It's the intention.
For me, I just like, is there any big deal in testing someone? Like, is there a big deal in
People
trying
test
to pass
every
a
day. I
test?
don't
Yeah,
think it's a
people, no,
big deal.
people test people.
I don't think
Yeah,
it's
but
a big
okay, now we'll wait.
And that's
Okay,
what
but
I'm saying, there's no
excuse
big
me.
deal. There's no big deal.
Excuse me, happiness. Let me say
Taking a
something.
broom. See,
Happiness, let me tell you
That's
something. That girl now might be a
weakness
very,
of
very
things.
respectable, like responsible and respectful person.
Right.
But will you judge her character based on that? Maybe she might have even been nervous. Like, but what will I do? Should I carry the broom or not? It's not everybody that is to come to their instinct, like to their intuition immediately and instinctively. Oh, because she's carrying broom, me immediately. I'm somebody that I'm very reserved. I like
the
that.
instinct that made you raise your leg.
The
Is
reason
that
of the leg.
instinct alone should tell you to collect the broom? It's not a question of instinct or instinctive.
Reason
I just
reason
feel-
of
I'm particularly
right?
not some person that will go to whether in-law or whatever and now try to prove a point. I am not even that person. But in a situation whereby, imagine for instance, my mother-in-law is coming towards me and then maybe she brought, whether she's doing it intentionally, I don't care. My own is, you want to sweep, I sweep that place and pack it. It's not take anything from my budget.
Exactly.
I don't know about any other person, but I personally wouldn't even see that.
I
an
will
issue.
not raise my leg if that is the position.
and
I
if
will
you
raise
send
my
me-
leg, but nobody should be placed in that position.
When I go to the house, I will not wake up early in the morning. I will not wake up and say, let me go and sweep, let me go and pack plates and wash and all those things. I am not even that kind of
Because
a
that
person.
one is eye service. Because when you are a
Thank you.
visitor,
I will not
When you're
stand
a
up and
visitor.
collect
No one is asking you to go and make fufu in the kitchen.
If
Or
you
what
tell me
place
to
in the
cook self,
kitchen.
I'll be happy because I love cooking. But you see that sweep is when I'm not available.
Now that's the point. That's the point. You can actually do something
And
that's
again-
harder than that, but you will not do the.
and again, it was not fair for the woman to have judged her character based on that
It's
act.
nothing.
she might have been a very respectful person, but judging her character based on that and the boy breaking up with her, for me, that one is not.
It makes no
It doesn't
sense.
make any sense.
It doesn't
to me.
make any sense.
Anyways.
But that thing would have, even if she had done it and then subsequently she starts seeing other
okay.
things, that would be a different ball game.
I-
But
I-
at that
I-
instant, there's nothing wrong.
I stand
There's
up.
nothing wrong.
Maybe I want to ask you a question, right?
Tomorrow I meet
If
her.
your brother brings a woman to the house,
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
She has to
your own brother brings a woman to the
Yeah.
house, and your mom is sweeping. Let's even assume this whole scenario. Let's flip the script.
Okay.
And you are your
Or sweeping
My
or
brother
whatever.
will tell my mother that he's bringing the girlfriend before he brought her to the house. 1. 2, can't he carry his hand and sweep the house? Is he handicapped?
If my
need
bro
to know
me,
this.
if I ask
I'm
my
not
mom,
expecting
and that is
you
I mean I'm
to
still
be
standing on the intention. But if I ask my mom, that is because you want to test her. Nobody, you have a daughter. If somebody treats your daughter like that, will you be happy?
So this respect thing, it cuts across several areas, and it also which brings me now to the social media aspect. A lot of people have been saying that people have been really disrespectful on social media. You know, social media is now a leveler where everybody now is everyone
Everybody's
has
mates.
their own age mates,
Yeah.
and you know, a child will just wake up with 100 naira data and come and be telling you Jack. I mean, do you think it's? I do you think we're actually going somewhere with this new culture?
The culture is here to stay.
It's actually here to stay.
Yeah, it's here to stay because
There is nothing you can do. If you don't want to be insulted, off your data. Stay offline. It's as simple as that. But the minute you carry your phone and you go and write something that makes no sense, or maybe you write something that makes sense, and someone tells you off, just if you cannot fight back, just leave.
And that is why I say most times the things that you do not want to come into the public,
Don't
don't bring it to the public, because you're bringing it to the public and anybody can say what they.
Exactly.
Everybody will definitely have an opinion because it's
But
not
sometimes
public.
it doesn't even necessarily have to be what you're bringing to the public. You can just state an opinion, and someone is coming to.
What?
People don't even just come to your comment to just tell you, you know, to be logical about the debate and you know, disagree with you logically. Some would go as far as insulting you. They're just that aggressive.
You need to understand that not everybody is brought up with the same home training as you are.
That's true.
Some people are moving mad.
People are mad.
People are mad on the
People are
streets.
disrespectful, unnecessarily rude.
And they don't see it
You have
as
to
anything.
accept
And for some
Respect
people,
yourself
it's just
and
clout.
stay off it.
Like
People are looking for
anything.
attention.
Exactly.
They crave of it, so you have to just respect yourself. If you cannot block, that's why the block button is there. Use it as we block.
So like you said,
disengage,
the
everything.
Gen Z and the millennials, we are more socially inclined compared to our parents' age. So they don't even know, they carry that same traditional mindset, that's olden days kind of respect kind of thing, and brought it to social media. It doesn't work that way. Everybody feels like as long as you can have a phone
Collect.
and you can chat, it just means that you have a right. For me, that's what I feel. So it now depends on what you now type and what you say. So nobody knows who is who. Somebody can even insult your mama go there
Exactly.
on
Yeah,
that comment.
people call you like for
Your
girls
mama go
mostly
there on that
they will even
comment,
call
they
you.
curse your
A
mama.
guy will call you Olo show, and this guy
You
might
know,
be
so
like 19
this
or
culture
18,
is here
but
to
because
stay.
you're
Now,
on the
what we
platform.
should be looking at, is it something that can be curbable, something that can be curbed out or minimized? I think that's where we should be projecting to, because this thing, I don't think is even going to get worse.
Yeah, because
Because
everybody gets sense.
the Gen Zs are actually
it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's
But,
going
but,
to get
but I want to ask
seriously
a
worse.
question between Gen Zs and millennials. Would you like which of the generations do you guys think are more disrespectful?
Obviously, the Gen Zs.
I will not say
The
the
Gen
Gen Z.
Z.
I will not generalize and say the Gen
No.
Zs. Do you know why?
Not a Gen
It's not a Gen Z thing. I feel it's like you said, it's relative. And I feel there is a balance, because there are still millennials that are disrespectful,
Yes.
and
These
that
guys
will not
are
even
more
respect
disrespectful. If you ask me,
They are more disrespectful.
But there are
thank
people
God
that
you're agreeing to it.
Yeah, but
They
there are
are
people.
more
Yeah, but there are people that are respectful.
at the slightest of
That's
things.
why I say a
Yeah.
balance.
There are some things you
They
can
don't
even
tolerate
they
shit.
don't
That's
tolerate.
the thing,
That's
they don't
where
They are
I'm coming
easily
to.
triggered.
There are things that you can even say, okay, man, does this person say, if you try this thing next time, you go collect.
Gen
Those
Z
guys
don't
don't.
tolerate that.
They're giving it to you as you are bringing it.
Well,
Because even the
generally.
elderly ones are even more. I think they're even
Manipulative.
Yes, they are.
Because something has happened. Own it. If you want to apologize, if you need to apologize, there's a need to apologize. Apologize.
elderly people don't apologize, so
No,
No,
your
they don't
mom will
apologize.
hurt your feelings and
And still ask
but she might use her actions sometimes.
It's
And
a
it's not
good
like they'll even tell you, they'll be like, have you
It's
eaten?
even a good thing. It's a good thing we are learning from
why
our
are you
parents.
still inside here? Are you
You
still
go and
reading
cry,
your book?
come to
You
the
know?
elder.
It's a good thing we are learning from our parents. Our parents,
so we'll be
it's-
better
it's-
parents.
yes, of
Yeah.
course. The era and the
Yes.
time our parents grew up, you cannot compare it to ours.
We may just replay and react everything that happened.
Are you sure we're actually going to be
I
better
don't think
parents?
we're going to be better
There's so many parents who have failed already.
I don't think so.
Because if
we are
you
taking things, the things we said we will not do, we are doing them.
Except
Like,
no, I feel
like
except
what?
spanking kids.
I better forget it.
no, apart from spanking kids, I feel
Just how you spank them.
Spanking is inevitable. If you
no
don't
fact,
spank, how do
and
you
apart
reset?
from spanking, there are other ways you can actually punish a child
How?
that is even worse, like that will actually get to them more than even spanking.
No, of course.
Like
there are
because
other
children
punishable
are
acts you can give
they
them.
always want to move about. If you tell a child to sit still, you don't know what you're doing to that child. Sit still and sit in a particular place.
Naughty
Don't
corner.
move.
It's called
Yeah,
naughty
naughty
corner.
corner. So if you move from that place, I'm adding 30 minutes more. So if you no, it does.
Move.
It does.
Move for 8 hours. And
It does.
Rest, If you rest, if you're not touch the chair, you see what I will do to
So-
you. Sure, you want to move.
So and moving forward, the coming to being responsible, like I said, parents of our time, they're not responsible. Like there are so many people that are living, like they are living how is it called in English now? They have trauma
Right.
from their like
they
childhood
didn't know.
trauma.
They didn't
yes,
know.
and they are now now that they are adults. They are realizing that those things actually traumatize them as children. You can imagine when I have a friend, like a colleague, that will tell me that her dad, the way her dad pushed her, like her dad will come and say, "You're not solving this math well. In 20 years' time, I see you on the streets begging for change." That is harsh. And that thing, like she's always saying it, and it was one day I just called, I say, this anytime we're talking about this thing, you're always saying this thing. Do you know that you're traumatized by this? And that was when she sat down and started thinking about it. Doesn't mean that the father did not love her or something, but it's the approach. So I feel with the experiences that
That's
people
why I
have
said
had,
we are going to be better
we are
parents,
going
of
to be
course,
better
so
parents. And some might not be better,
Don't wait.
some might not be better.
No, not
because-
everybody, but
yeah.
majority. We are learning from our parents.
Some people will
mistake,
be
our-
broken,
their
and
own
because of the fact that that is what they are used
I
to,
told
I
myself
will
that there are things that
I know
you
You said
will
what?
play it.
I know of certain people who
Mhm.
were
Yeah.
raised in very, very harsh environments and very
course.
raised harshly.
Yeah.
And that they in fact they don't understand any other way of correction apart from
That particular
That's
level.
like you have
harshness
Mhm.
and
And
aggressive.
that child they've grown up to be very, very, very responsible. So in essence, are you guys trying to say that
No,
the fact that our parents raised us in this
In a harsh setting.
kind of environment, it's not
Yeah.
that child is going to lose it at the end of the day and become irresponsible as adults.
well, what I would say on that is a two-way thing. It either marry you or it makes you or it breaks you. Do you understand? Let me use a scenario. Two people now have a dad that is an abuser and is irresponsible. Two sons, let's say for instance they are even twins. One grows up to say, see my father, look at the way he is, I'm not want to be like him. But the other one is like, when they ask him like, what's the reason why you're causing mayhem and you are like this? Yeah, it's because my father, and I saw my father being now. So it's your choice
It's an- I
what
think
you
it's-
pick.
It's an individual thing.
Yes, it's what you pick. There are
The
people
decision you
like
make
for
for
my
your
friend
life.
now, what she used that thing now that her dad will always say to her, she's always grinding. Like she doesn't want to ever be in a situation whereby she'll be begging for change. But do you know what it will do with somebody that doesn't have that mental strength? It will break the person, and the person will not even want to push themselves at any point in time in their life. Like they always have this thing in their head, like, so what am I going to do after all? No matter what I do, exactly. It's so.
So I think it's based on our
So,
choices.
yeah,
and
it's choices, personal choices.
What we want to derive out of life.
Yeah.
So you can be thrown a stone of maybe sorrow, pain, and whatever, and you can convert that
And decorate it,
something very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's just based on individuality. Like Mabel said, we all have different ways of handling things. People are very fragile. So people are very strong-minded. You can come from a father that is useless. I'm sorry to say, people like obviously useless. And then the children can be something productive. And the other one can decide, after all, my father is useless. Why am I going to be better? And there's somebody making use of that uselessness of a father's kind of attitude
do better
to
for their
produce
children.
something very, very, very vital and important in his or her life. So I think life generally is based on our choices. And as adults, your choice is what makes you a man or a woman. Man relatively, because of course men is what we used to classify ourselves. So your choices is what makes you, what forms you, and that's what gives you productivity. So that's for me, that's it.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this one last question and then we'll take our submission. How would you handle a disrespectful not sibling, or maybe someone who you're older than, it's being disrespectful?
Like always disrespectful, or like
in
a
one
one-time
setting.
thing. Like, can you please elaborate?
Like, a child that is very disrespectful in any way you can think about it, or someone who you're older than, very disrespectful, not just even to you, but you've seen that child being disrespectful to anybody around. How do you handle that?
If the person is a Gen Z,
It depends.
like I say, it depends. Honestly,
You cannot force a child like the way it is now. We have millennials and Gen Z. These Gen Zs, you cannot even to call them to sit them down. You cannot. They all like all this mushy dressed up kind of thingy. So you bring them into a space and you're telling them, babe,
Don't
what
dress
you
like
did
this.
to that man or what you're doing to me, I don't like it. You don't even have respect. And they'll be like, but not everybody. We're not generalizing. But the thing is, I really don't know how we can cop that out. I think it's based on your family upbringing, because the way I will approach person A and the reply the person will give is not the same way person B will give me the same reply.
Well, for
I just
family,
think
when-
very rude. They are very
I just
rude.
think you just have to.
for that family upbringing, for that family upbringing,
They are not rude. They are
for that
they are
family
being
upbringing
exposed.
that Susan mentioned, sometimes you see, most time people say, "Oh, it's the family the person comes from," but you might go into that family and see other siblings, like other people in that family that are straight-headed. They always say there is always a black sheep in the family. There's somebody that no matter what, even if the parents have done their homework, they've brought up this truth, they will still choose another path. And so these are things that you cannot control. So if I have a sibling that is stubborn, I will try, but because of how me I am now, speaking personally, I'm somebody that is very, very emotional, and how I take my family. So if you're trading through that path, and I have tried, because I will not want a situation whereby something goes wrong and they're like, oh, nobody was even there to caution and nobody was there to say, I will do my bit. But if you want to go into the street and learn the hard way and make mistakes or be stubborn,
There is virtually
it will
nothing you can
teach
do. You
so
can only
I'm not
advise.
going to stress myself and kill myself.
It's either you
Do
learn from
understand?
experience or you learn by default. It's
Exactly.
2 ways.
So the
You
experience.
can only advise.
What's the difference between raising a Gen Z and a millennial? Because if our parents that were not even in the same generation with them will raise us in their own way of understanding exactly the tough love. So why can't the generation before the Gen Z raise the Gen Z in that manner?
Because nobody used case to beat them.
Most of the parents of today are bettered from, so should I say millennials now? They are being exposed, their mindset is changed, they
want to do things different from their own
there's a lot of turnaround, you understand?
But do you
So
think
that mindset,
it has
there are
helped?
people that will not spank their kids in this.
In fact, there are people that are even doing it wrong.
But you can never tell that to our parents.
Like,
They
see,
will-
there are people that are even
before you say
overdoing
jack.
it. Now, when I say overdoing it,
There are
now
people that
for
will not
instance,
spank their kids.
there are people that will be like, okay, because my parents, I did not enjoy these benefits growing up. I want to give my parents the best, and I feel sometimes it's like overclouds like their sense of doing what is right and wrong for their children. So because now you want your children to be better.
Especially
There
those
is
ones
no
that
limit
have-
to what you
those
want to
ones
do.
that have,
You allow them have anything they want.
one son, maybe you have
Exactly.
4 girls, and then it's
You know,
a male
you-
child
you-
just
you
comes
want
in.
to do everything.
And then that child
No,
becomes
this
a male boy. a male baby
That's the only
came
boy.
into the picture. Most parents
You
lose
want to lose
their
it.
integrity. They just
You
give
know,
the child everything.
everything.
And at the end
And there
of
are
the day,
limits.
when they get to a point in their life, they feel they
Made a
cannot control it.
mistake.
children are meant, if you cannot control a child from his maybe what's it called,
Toddler.
toddler
You've lost it.
teenager,
You will
then
not
I
be
don't know
able-
when.
You've lost hold.
So most people lose that
It's just
right
like-
by giving
yeah.
everything to their children.
It's
and
just
then
like when
the
a
child
stick is
becomes
fresh. When a stick
as
is fresh,
good
you
as-
try to bend the stick.
Another thing
It will be fine, but when
Parents
it's dry,
forget that children are not an extension of themselves.
Of
they are
course.
different.
They
Yeah,
forget to accord children the respect as human beings.
like
Because I
individuality.
say to you, you are my child, I will
You must follow all
respect
the.
the child.
There are things that you will like that your child will not like. I'm not talking about good or bad. Like there are things that are good and things
Nigerian
that are
parents
bad.
don't play with
But
children.
you cannot say now because your child doesn't like, let's say, eating beans, for instance, and you want to force the child by force to eat beans. And so, children have their own individuality, and most parents they don't appreciate and try to enhance that individuality. I cannot be a reflection of you. It's not yes, some children might be like their parents. They say, this one is
But
like the
it's
father,
not
this one is like the
100%
mother.
guarantee that you have to, be exactly like that.
Exactly. So I feel children should allow parents should allow their children to just
Be
be themselves and have their personality, that like what is known to them.
Every
Alright.
child is different, so they should
Yeah.
allow them just grow.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys, for your opinions and contributions on this very topic. And so the conversation has been elders and entitlement, and it's been a wonderful and educating conversation. And you can also drop your comments and contribution under the comment section, and you can also share and like the video. And until next time, we'll come your way with another interesting episode. My name is Happiness Eric, and it's a bye for now.
Bye guys.
Or a wrap. What am I saying?
Thank you so much.